Yo, I'm glad we could bring you on because we had an interesting discussion the other night at dinner. I thought you would have had one credit card, like something.
You were like, I'm going to get this guy. He's surely just like, he's got to tell people not to use them, but he's got to have at least one.
Right.
Was that
because
the
we were paying for dinner, and I thought, okay, you could get like 2 to 5% cash back.
It was when we were paying for dinner.
Right.
Graham was like looking through his wallet. He's like, oh, you got any credit cards in here? And no, surprisingly, you did not. So you reflect the mantra of the company, which is really interesting.
I live out all the principles, and it's not like a, what if Dave checks my wallet? No, there's none of that. We're not doing credit checks here. No one checks your wallet when you apply. It's just kind of the honor system that if you work here, you actually believe in this stuff. And so I just celebrated today 10 years. We did a fun staff meeting announcement, and I got a little box of my little coins for 1 year, 5 year, 10 year. And part of that announcement and celebration was like, this guy has faithfully walked out the principles for a decade.
Now, what does that mean? You celebrate 10 years, like 10 years debt free.
That's as a Ramsey team member.
Really?
Yeah. So I've been on Dave's team. I started as a temp and an intern. Worked in marketing, social media, email marketing. I didn't have any kind of on-camera role until 2017.
I had no idea because I think I found you maybe 2 years ago when I started seeing you appear on the Ramsey show. But I had no idea you were here for that long.
Yeah, I feel like I grew up here. I mean, it's crazy. I know you've been, when you start your career young, it just feels like you kind of mature. Like when you get married young.
Definitely forces you to
grow
mature.
up with your spouse. And so I feel like this place raised me in a sense. I met my wife here. She still works here.
Really?
So this place like runs through my veins. And so I'm very passionate about it. And I love the principles and I love getting to help people.
It's funny, even the lady at the front desk, she said she just celebrated 18 years at the company.
Wow.
So it seems like when people start working here, they just stay here.
I mean, once you find a good thing, I mean, why go anywhere?
Yeah.
So that was my story.
So what drew you to Ramsey? Did you start off with debt? Like, what was your story behind that?
So when I started at Ramsey as a temp and intern, I was $36,000 in student loan debt. I had $4,000 in credit card debt. And I'd heard about Financial Peace University. I'd moved from Boston, Massachusetts to Mobile, Alabama. And of course, Dave has a heavier presence in the South, in the Bible Belt, evangelical churches and all of that. And so I had heard about FPU, but I didn't really know much more than like, oh, he's a finance guy. So what drew me actually was a personality we had at the time. And I wanted to kind of work with him and help him with social media stuff. I was a marketing guy. I was a musician. And so I just loved helping other people reach folks in a creative way. And that to me was what marketing is. And so that's kind of how I got my start here, was really through that personality. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to go through Financial Peace University as a new team member, and it changed everything. Like my whole paradigm changed, and I realized everything I know about money was wrong. Like I was lied to. Like the system is designed to keep you broke.
What do you spend the money on?
On what?
You said you were $4,000 in credit card.
Oh,
debt.
yeah.
What
my gosh.
What was that about?
I was a musician, and so it was a lot of just gear and camera gear. I love video editing. I was going to go to film school. So, you're like, I got to have a DSLR because, like, what if I want to start a YouTube channel? And the amp is a little old. Let's upgrade the amp. And so it was just stupid stuff and gear. And again, I opened a Discover card because it had like rotating 5% cash back, and I was like, that's a no-brainer, right?
That's a good deal right there. Yeah.
And they had the American
No
Express,
annual fee.
Delta, Sky Miles card. So like, well, I want to travel and see my family. I can do.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I'm carrying a balance of $4,000, and I'm broke, going like, but they told me this is the path. Like, this is what's going to get me the free stuff and the cash back. And so at some point, I was just like, it's not worth it. And so I cut up the cards.
Now, when you spent that money, though, I assume you just didn't have the cash to pay it off. So what was your plan with that? Just you're going to put it on the card. Did you expect to make enough money to pay off
I
the
guess
credit card,
so.
or were you not thinking that far?
It's always the plan that you're going to have the money later to pay it all off at the end of the month. Like when the bill comes due, I'm going to have the money. But as I now know, taking calls on the Ramsey show every day, it just doesn't always work out like that. Life hits you. There's an emergency. And most of the people who are using the credit cards, they don't have a pile of cash in the bank to cover those expenses. And that was me. I was 23 years old, just getting started with an entry-level salary. Like, I didn't have much.
But you would spend some time in college, correct?
Yes, I graduated.
You graduated. What did you study?
I studied communication because I wanted to go into marketing and media and film, and that was about as close as I could get.
And how'd you get your initial job at the Ramsey Solutions?
It was actually through some Twitter DMs. I was very persistent, tenacious, much like you guys, a lot of hustle. And I was just like, I want to work there. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll do whatever you want. I'm here to just serve. I want to be there.
And what drew you exactly to it? You said it was a personality, but what was it specifically?
I think it was, me coming out of, I grew up Arabic Baptist, which is very strange if you know anything about the Middle East and religion. People are like, you weren't Muslim? But growing up in this Arabic Baptist bubble of Boston, I came from this evangelical background, and I love the way this personality brought kind of faith and humor and heart all together. And it's a lot of what we do here. You know, a lot of faith, a lot of humor, a lot of heart. And that's Dave in a nutshell, and so entertaining. So that's what really drew me to this place, is just kind of seeing someone with a really inspiring message present it in a creative way.